Okay, so let's kick it off for week 9 Sales Cloud. So I'm going to go jump straight into the sharing screen because no one really wants to see my face. Okay, so I've uploaded the next couple of weeks. I've scheduled the other ones to load up. So like on the weekend before the meeting. But for this week, it's really about sales. So in the exam, we know that Sales Cloud and Service Cloud are touched on lightly. There are some exams that where you become a Sales Cloud consultant or a Service Cloud consultant. They will they will add a lot more detail into this. But for the administrator exam, it's really about understanding the concepts. So in Salesforce, like the way that I understand it or imagine it really is there's the 3 stages. There's the marketing side, then the sales side, then the service side. So marketing is really about taking people who don't know who you are into an awareness stage. I'll jump straight over to an example of a bit of a funnel. So marketing will make you aware of the company, what they do, what their products are, things like that. They'll capture the leads and then they'll qualify it down. So it really comes down to, so marketing then will hand over to sales. And this will change depending on the organization. So this is really just an indicative funnel. It will come through you. So you might have a suspect or a prospect. So suspect being somebody who you don't know, they haven't left their email or something like that. Then down to a prospect. And then you qualify that that's a real person because they might have given you Joe Blogs at go and make a cup of tea.com. Then it will be, you'll test that email address and then you'll be able to figure out whether they're actually a lead or not. That's when you'll do the handover to sales. Sales will take you from that lead process through to the opportunity and then make the sale. And then once the sale is made, that's when it transitions over to service. So we'll be touching on Service Cloud in the next meeting. But if you think of it from a high level, service is when you log a ticket with your ISP saying that your internet's not working. You log a ticket. A ticket is a case. That's Service Cloud. So once it's all really about keeping your customers happy, dealing with their concerns or complaints or whatever, and making sure that they don't leave. But we're focused on the sales funnel at the moment. So just jumping back, and now that I've shown that, what we're going to do, the little guy's a bit grumpy. Yeah. So given a scenario, identify capabilities, implications of the sales process. So we'll go through the sales process, opportunities, paths. What's up? Oh, little guy needs his iPad. So path and, forecast impact. That we don't really touch on forecasts that much in the exam, I don't think. Given a scenario, apply the sales productivity features. So this we've covered a little bit before regarding activities, but we've got dashboards, lead scoring, Einstein scoring, a homepage assistant, and then we'll go into campaigns. So leads, lead conversion, lead assignment rules, and campaigns. So we touched on what the conversion process was in the early days. Conversion really is the process, and I'll just do a quick Google search for an image. And so So we'll just find an image, and there should be heaps of them. Conversion. That's the one that I'm wanting. So what we can see, and I will open it. It's probably not going to open better. Let's just jump down into that. So lead conversion. So a lead is, for most people, in most scenarios rather, a lead will be effectively like a business card. So you will have a name, you'll be able to identify that person for the business that they work in. But quite often a business card won't actually work out whether you want to work with them or not. So it's just a name and it's just a company. So what you need to do is you need to have some kind of interaction with that lead and figure out whether you're going to do work with them or not. And then you might want to have multiple deals with them, or opportunities. So once you get to a point of that you're going to work with this person, there's an implied exchange of value. So that value might be tangible or non-tangible, but it's really that's the first stage filter. Once you want to go through that conversion process, you will split it up into what account, what business account, as per this diagram, what's the contact, and what's the opportunity. One of the tricks is that, and we'll show you this, the opportunity is optional. So sometimes you know that you want to work with somebody, but you haven't really worked out what you're going to work on. So for instance, you might have the business account might be a BHP. They might have multiple sites. So you might have a parent account, which is BHP, and then multiple accounts underneath that being for each of the sites. It could be branches, it could be franchises, it could be something like that. And then you'll have that business contact, and that contact will be associated with, it could be more than one employer. It could be more than, in a non-for-profit sense, it could be a household and an employer. It could be multiple relationships where you have contact to contact or business to business. So having a clear understanding of the hierarchy and where all of these fit makes your conversations richer and more targeted. The opportunity, the difference, so what an opportunity is, where it's different to a lead, is it really focused on a deal. When we go in and look at the example, you'll see that there's a financial number. So if you're going to look at any financial forecasting, you'll be looking at that opportunity. On the right-hand side, you can see the difference between a lead conversion for a business and an individual consumer. So on the right-hand side, they're really kind of looking at person account rather than, coffee. Sorry, that's instead of saying though person account or a business account, coffee had nothing to do with it. It was just a delivery. Okay, so jumping onto the whole concept of person accounts. Personal accounts are an interesting thing. I think I've mentioned before that they're evil. They're only kind of evil. Personal accounts are where you split your contact information with you as a person, as a financial entity. So if you've got a power bill, the person that has the contract, it doesn't matter whether you are in a house of 15 people, that utility has a contract with that person to provide power. So in that sense, they quite often go with a person account. My personal view on it is that they're missing out on a whole new layer of information, which, you want to find out how many people are in that household, so that you could work out individual usage patterns and all that kind of stuff. but historically they've gone down the easy route. Where financial services, it makes sense that everybody has their individual financial accounts and then they roll up to a household or something like that. The other option for personal accounts is health records. So as a household, I'm not entitled to go and have a look at my wife's medical history without permission. It's not that kind of a relationship. Everybody is an individual. Everybody has their privacy concerns and stuff like that. So let's go into what I'll do is that I'll just jump into the sales from products on the Salesforce website to just have a quick overview. Just some key concepts where we'll have a look. So if we go to the comparison chart, from my perspective, I will always jump in when I want to find out about a product or more information. I jump straight into these pricing. I skip past this part, and this is where I really look. So you've got your different levels. You won't be tested on those different levels, but you'll be able to see what the functionality is for Sales Cloud. You could also jump into Service Cloud and see the same things, but you will really see that. And if I won't jump around too quickly, but you can see there's leads process, there's a sales process, there's forecasting, and you can see that a lot of, unless you go to the higher levels, you really don't get much forecasting. Standard stuff, standard platform stuff. So one thing to note is that case management over here, you'd see that even in Sales Cloud, you do get some of the basics of Service Cloud. One of the questions, so the way that you can buy Service and Sales Cloud, and if I'll close that, you can come up here, and when you choose products, you can pick sales and service. What they used to have, and I'm not sure whether it's under all products or all pricing, is that you would have sales and service. So you can buy the two, and it's a much better deal to buy the two. It's recommended in a lot of cases simply because you're getting that full suite of functionality, and then you can put the marketing on the front and then have the end-to-end. It's not showing anymore. Websites do change. What I'll do is, I've done a quick search a number of times. This is where I end up quite often, about saying, if you've got Service Cloud and you don't have, if you've got Sales Cloud and you don't have Service Cloud, which objects do you not get access to? If you think about having the sales functionality and not the advanced service capabilities, that's what it is. And it's the same on the opposite. You get the basics of the whole platform, but you don't get the advanced features. So in Sales Cloud, you get, we haven't touched on campaign, but you get that lead object, you get the account object, you get the contact and opportunity, so that you can do that lead conversion process that we'll go through in a minute, and you'll have campaigns. So campaigns, it's a lovely segue, and I think it says down here, so a campaign is really a way of saying, if you're marketing to somebody, you're sending them an offer, or via direct mail, how many people bought from that campaign. So you can attribute that sale, and there's different ways of doing it to figure out whether the last time that you sent them something that they bought it, or whether you know, which one gets the credit. Was it the first time that they were aware of your brand, or the last one that actually triggered the purchase? You can understand that a lot of people might be 7 touch points to go and buy something. So how does a company work out how they're going to spend their money with the marketing dollars, what's most effective, they use the campaign attribution and they report using a hierarchy, which we'll touch on in a little bit. I've spoken for about 15 minutes. Does anybody have any questions before I jump into the next? Okay. All right, so I'm going to close down that one. Just for your information, if you jump on Trailhead, you can see that if you click onto Sales Cloud, 88 modules just for Sales Cloud. So as I said, this exam is about the high level concepts. It's not about the details. When you go into further details, you go into territory splits, splitting the opportunity values and things like that over multiple teams, partners, sharing. There's a whole bunch of stuff, but really what we want to do is cover this lead conversion process. So what I'll do is I'll jump straight into an org. I've opened up the sales app. So here we are at our our homepage. You can see here that I've and when you start populating this with data, it becomes a lot richer. So you can see here from your quarterly performance, you can see the dollar values. Where are you going to get those dollar values? You're going to get them from the opportunities. So when you make a sale, an opportunity ends up with a status of closed won or closed lost. So if you've won it, you've sold it. If you haven't won it, it goes to a $0. We'll go through that in a moment. On the bottom here of this, you can see closed plus open greater than 70%. So what that means is that you've got stages in your sales cycle and you're more than half, you're 70% sure that that is going to result in a positive sale. So that's the forecast. You've got some events, you've got some recent records, today's tasks, and this is a homepage assistant just saying I've changed the owner of this lead and it's popped up here, so I can find out from this. It was in the, and I'm gonna call on Kiva. So this homepage assistant, do you remember covering anything with your studies recently on that one, mate? I don't think Kiva's there. He's pretending to be online and he's not. Okay. He's probably doing that that Danger Robinson thing. Okay, most people won't get that.
I got you, Cal.
Yeah, thank you. Not canned laughter. Okay, so let's just go through to a lead. So if somebody is going to enter their information from a website, that is more than likely going to be a web to lead form. So if I just jump into setup, and if I go to web to lead, and you can see that there's web to case, we'll cover that next week. So what you can do is you create your web to lead form. You will map what fields are there, the return value, the capture. You can generate from here. Let's just. And I don't think it's going to like me if I just put random stuff in there. But if I generate that, let's just not do that. All right, so that's our web to lead. That's our HTML that we can put into a form on a website, and automatically somebody fills out that form. That information will go straight into Salesforce and become a lead. So that's as easy it is to create. All you need to do is edit the HTML on the web page, and you've got a web to lead form. And so if somebody from the website comes in and wants to, if they fill out that form, the fields get mapped directly to this lead. We'll just create a new one, which is just the manual version. If somebody calls up and, let's go with the man of the hour. Let's just, we'll save it there. So JJ, thank you. So if we've got JJ Watt, we know that he's got some information. Or you can see, where am I going to look? So this is effectively the stuff that you would see on a business card. You could get most of this stuff. Industry annual revenue, check out their website and their annual reports. You can fill this out so that you can have a rich conversation. This rating here, so you can change this, but you could see whether they're a cold lead so that you could deprioritize them. And that's where, so it really comes back to, you've got all of these people to contact, you've got 100 people to contact, and you've got one person. So how do you prioritize those? You would just go through the rating of hot, and then you'd work down to the other areas. You'd work out some way of prioritizing. I'll jump over to Einstein opportunity scoring, which is kind of similar. If you're going to score a lead or an opportunity, you can have a number or some kind of a rating system. Einstein is Salesforce's AI tool. So what that will do is it'll go through your system and it will give you basically the machine learning, AI, computer intelligence, whatever you want to call it. It will give you a score and it will say, this person, based on your last deals, this person is the one that you should call next. So we know that JJ wasn't playing on the weekend. We know that he should this weekend. We'll make that hot. We give him a call. He says, "Oh, okay, I'm interested in doing a deal." If we click this convert, so it'll just select there. This is, and I did that for two reasons. In the background there, you can see a convert button. So you can either change that status on that path because you wanted it either to be a won or a lost. You know that it's converted. And so what we can do here is we can turn, we mentioned, I wrote about JJ plays for the Arizona Cardinals. We can add him to an existing contact and search for them. We could create a new contact, or if there's a duplicate, we can do that. And this is where I mentioned before about, if you know that you're going to do a deal with them, you can talk about, we know that, what are we going? We're going to, so week 9, I think it's week 9. We know that the Cards are playing 4:30 on Monday morning. And so they're playing the 49ers. Everybody else is so interested in this. But that's we know that he's going to make a committed value to that. But if you don't, you just tick that box. That sometimes comes up as an exam question from memory. As I said, I haven't done the exam for 3-something years, but I remember that was one of the things that I took particular attention to look at. So when you're doing a conversion, lead turns into an account. and a contact and an optional opportunity. So we'll change that lead status to closed converted. And all of a sudden we know that this lead has been converted. So if I go to leads, JJ isn't an open lead anymore. So if I had someone on a call center making all those contacts, JJ's not there anymore. But if I go over to contacts, JJ's now a contact. So that's how you take somebody. We haven't done that marketing side, but we've taken somebody from the start of the sales process through to making sure the first stage is to make sure that they want to do work with us and there's going to be a deal. So how much is that deal? So we know that the account was the Arizona Cardinals, the contact was JJ, and what were we going to work on? If I look over at opportunities, there should be a week 9. So we know that if we go into that, look into details, we have a chat to JJ. We know that he's interested and he's got the budget. We'll jump straight to that needs analysis stage. We know that the deal is worth, say, $500,000. And so at the moment, if we know that, and I've moved it up here, but I'll move it down here as well. The needs analysis, you see that probability jump to 20%. So you can map these stages, and I'll just move it up. These stages map to a certain percentage so that you can understand that if I have 2 deals of $1 million each, and both of them are 50% likely to land, I can expect to earn $1 million. 50% of each of those combined, that's my forecast. So that's really how the forecasting works. And the more that you take them on the journey through this path up the top, and you can customize this path to the stages of your business and the percentages of your business. And so that you understand that when they're on that path, the closer that they are to closed, the more likely they are, the better that you could forecast. And so this is where data really makes good decision making for organizations. If you have this process down pat, you can make excellent decisions. Couple of other things, lead source, I didn't touch on, but you might actually, so they came from the web, they gave you a phone call. You can do all the tracking of where this person came from, even down to the campaign. So did the person come from a marketing campaign? If they called up, did they call up about a specific deal? Why did they get to a stage of being one of your customers? With that information, you can feed that back to the marketing and branding teams and try and improve the velocity of that process and bring more and more people in. So if I will just save this one now, and you can see that I had the probability over here. So the 75%, if I went to a forecast, I would see 75% of 500,000. So you can see new case here. So you can create a case just having Sales Cloud, but you won't be able to do things like SLAs and the advanced stuff that we'd normally do. Couple of things to note, opportunity owner. So you could have opportunity teams. I'm the owner here because I created it. You can see this, the approval and the sales history, stage history. So approval history might be something along the lines of, you want to give this person 10%, but you need to get approval, a 10% discount. So anything over 5%, you might need an approval. You might go through that process there. The other things to mention is, so it's shared between sales and service. You can have products and your price books and things like that. And so you can store all of the things that people can buy so that you can track how many people are buying of anything. So campaigns is the other thing that I wanted to touch on. So we've got some active campaigns here. If I just jump into this one. So let's jump into details. So, and again, based on a Trailhead Playground, it doesn't have a lot of information in it. But what you can see is that this is a direct marketing campaign. You're putting in some ROI values. So how many sales do you expect to make? How much is it going to cost? What's your expected response rate? So if this became a Pardot campaign, you could get much better values. So Pardot is one of the Salesforce marketing products. You can use any marketing product, but Pardot or Marketing Cloud integrate nicely into Sales Cloud so that you can have these values. So as a result, you'd have your marketing dashboards, and so that you could really work out how much money are you spending on each marketing campaign. What's your return? Are you going to double down, or are you going to kill it? With A/B testing and things like that, so you'll test little things to work out whether they're going to change or not. How do you improve it? The thing that I wanted to mention before, okay, there's two things here. There's campaign members. So if you're sending information, an offer to a group of people, you tag all of those people as campaign members. So that's a way of putting them in a bucket and showing whether they were sold, whether they were offered a deal, whether they were contacted, what their responses were. Basically to see how you're tracking. So what you also have is you have your campaign hierarchy. So you have 5 layers. It's a hard limit at 5, where you could do something along the lines of, you have your top, you'll have your years, or it might be your different channels. So you might have direct marketing, web, radio, TV, or whatever. I don't think anybody really does much on the TV or radio anymore. But if you want to work out from marketing, comparing from year to year and those kinds of things, that's where you would go. You would add to your campaign hierarchy. Campaign hierarchy is one of those things that you tend to set up initially, and you'll do things like have ad hoc campaigns, recurring campaigns. You'll split them up into different ways on how you want to report. 50% of the time you'll tweak it and you'll rebuild that campaign hierarchy because it's not giving you the reporting information that you want. A lot of new implementations will mess around with that. But if you can understand that you have tiering, and if you want to work out what your reporting requirements are, if your priority is inbound calls and then split it up by years, you can report on it differently. What else are we looking at? So campaigns, we've been through. I'll just show you quickly that. I'll jump into the campaign hierarchy and no, okay, it's just going to be on the on the record. I thought it was in setup. What else are we going? So if we look at the sales process, so taking somebody captured from marketing into a lead, doing the conversion, following that opportunity down through that process, through to a closed one. Closed one is a sale, or closed loss is not a sale, and going through that process. And then after that sale, there'll be you'll focus on farming, reselling, renewals, or case. Opportunity, we've gone through. Path, we've gone through quickly. The forecast impact, we've just said about the percentages from each of the stages on the path through to the value to work out what the forecast amount is. So given a scenario, apply the appropriate sales productivity features using opportunity tools. For instance, dashboards, lead scoring, opportunity scoring, homepage assistant. So dashboards, oh geez, I'm just trying to think of an opportunity sales feature. So dashboards are really, again, it's going to be about the reports. How are you tracking against your high the high quality leads? You'll basically have different percentages and things like that. So you are able to see who's doing what, how many leads are being converted into opportunities. That lead scoring, if you might have rankings, you might actually turn it into a calculated score. So it might be based on if you're selling life insurance, if they're over 35, they might get a +2 or something like that. If they're over 50, they might get a +3. If they're under 25, they might get a -2. So if they're in a different suburb, you give them a different multiplier and things like that. As we mentioned, Einstein is the machine learning view. So that learns from your data set. So the more opportunities you have, the better that tool is. And the homepage assistant, I think you kind of saw it. So the homepage assistant here, you can see here 30 days without any activity. You can see that opportunity, nothing is happening. So you probably want to do something about it. So that's just on the homepage. You can see that based on this opportunity, this graph got more information. So here we go, there's that one. Jumping into the third point, describe the capabilities of lead automation tools and campaign management. So for leads, lead conversion, lead assignment rules, which we haven't touched on, campaign and campaign members. So really a lead assignment rule will be, you might have different teams in a call center or that kind of a scenario where you might have a high value team. So if a lead comes through and you think that they're from a VIP company or something like that, if they're from it might be a company, an industry, it might be something that if you have a look at that lead record, and again, you can update, you know, you've got up to 500 fields on an object, so that when you come into these details, you might add something like an extra couple of fields. It might be employees. So if they've got 500 employees, they go to one team. If they've got 10 employees, they go to a different team. If they've got a specific industry like mining or government or something else, they might, non-for-profit, they'll go to a different team. So that lead assignment is taking the information here, and you can see the lead owner here. So the lead assignment rules will just be routing that lead owner to a particular person that they're supposed to be. Campaign and campaign members we've touched on. So let's just quickly run through the topics that I had on my list. Sales Cloud. So yeah, I really wanted to just highlight those key objects. Web to lead, leads, assignment rules, contact roles, on opportunities. So you can, it's probably a little bit more complex than we need to go into, but you can have opportunity teams and case teams. So you can have multiple people as the owners so that they take ownership of those records. It's campaigns, campaign members, and campaign hierarchy. So you understand that you'll have a hierarchy, you'll have a plan of all your marketing activities that will have a reporting hierarchy. Think of it very much like a staff where we've gone through roles and we have a role hierarchy. It's the same kind of deal. In each of those campaigns, you'll have a list of people that you will do that marketing or campaign, and you'll have a bucket of people, and that's all of your campaign members. So a campaign member doesn't mean it's not an exclusive thing. You can have, the reason why you have campaigns is because you can have lots of contacts in lots of different campaigns, and they're just listed out as campaign members. Products, price books, and opportunities. So again, I don't think that, and forecasting, I don't think that they're really covered in this exam in much detail. I think they're covered in the next exam. Kiva, are you still sleeping or are you around, mate?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So products, price books, are they covered? Were they covered much in your exam? Kiva?
Just thinking. They weren't a large section,
Yeah.
but I feel like I had one or two, and yeah, they didn't go too deep into forecasting either. Just the overarching premise of it.
Yeah. So I'm not going to go into too much detail. As you could probably imagine, you'll have a list of products and a price book will be the prices on those products so that you can change your price book depending on, it might be depending on different state, by different customer, by different territory. It could be a whole bunch of different reasons, but the price book is the way of handling a product with multiple changes of prices. So you think about like fuel or something like that. You'll have the base product, and then you'll want another object to keep tracking the volatility of daily price changes so that you don't have to change the whole product. You just change the price each day. And you know, the price might be different when you're selling at trade or wholesale compared to retail and things like that. So how do you split out those values? You have lots of different price books. We've covered opportunities as well and forecasting. So that's, I've listed out a couple of modules in a project here. A lot of these things, you know, the key concept, as I mentioned, is those 5 core objects. That's really what I wanted to cover. And from the sales and marketing applications, I think that once you understand the basics, it's a really easy couple of marks to get. So what have you got? You've got 60 something questions. So you probably have 8 questions in that sales and marketing cloud marketing applications area. I think it's, if you understand it, they're pretty easy marks to get. So what I'll do is I'll stop the recording and we'll see if anybody's got some questions.